Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Strive Golf Podcast. Devin here with me as always, my man, Sean. How are you, man?
Good. Aloha, brother.
Aloha. We'll recap some of that, some Hawaii stuff, and then also with us today is I don't want to call him a guest because he's a good friend of the pod. He's going to be on here a lot. You're going to get to know him better, and all with videos and within the podcast and some other things. But we have, I guess technically he's our first guest, Mr. Austin Pierce. Pierce, thanks for being here, man. Thanks for coming on.
Dude, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. When you told me about this, I was pretty stoked, and I think that you're doing a great job. So thanks for having me, man.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. And so just a brief context for those who don't know, Austin and I have known each other for a long time. And I honestly kind of have him to thank for my golf experience and kind of keeping me in the game. Obviously, my dad was the one who introduced me, but I always saw Pierce as kind of the cooler older brother in the neighborhood and wanted to be like him. And he started golfing just before me. And so I was like, oh, sweet. I golf now. So, me and Austin can go golf more. So, honestly kind of have you to thank for that. So I met you, I think I was in like 5th grade, right? You were in 6th grade. Is that about right?
Yeah, man. I was a big, tough 6th grader.
And it was funny because like, if anyone knows Pierce, this is what makes this story so ridiculous is the first time I had heard about him was another kid in the neighborhood said he wanted to fight me. So I went over to his house with my skateboard ready to, I was like so scared and so nervous. I thought we were going to fight. And when I met you, you just offered me a soda and we just skateboarded around. I'm like, this kid's the nicest kid ever. So it was just funny. Like if anyone has, anyone who knows you thinks that is beyond ridiculous. You're definitely not a fighter. You're just the nicest kid. So,
oh man, you're too kind.
Anyway, so tell us kind of your introductory story to golf. I know your dad and your brother were, sticks, and I believe that's kind of how you got into it. But I'm curious, just kind of give us some context to your golf beginnings.
Yeah, man. I started, I want to say when I was about 7th grade. Yeah, maybe like 13 years old. My dad and my brother were really into it. They were always golfing, and growing up, watching TV on Sundays, they were always watching golf. And Tiger Woods was always in red, and he was always winning. And I'm like, that guy is so good. It's like every Sunday you can expect this guy to win another tournament. And I was always into basketball. I always loved to play ball and skateboard and whatnot. Played baseball for a few years, and I just remember my dad was always telling me, you got to get into golf. Like, I think you could be pretty decent at it. You're a pretty athletic kid. It's like, yeah, whatever type thing. And then I went into middle school, and Victor Gonzalez invited me to go play golf. It was like the summer of like '05 or '06. Yeah, I think it was about '05. And he's like, hey, do you want to go play Riverbend? I was like, where's that? It's like, it's down the street. So sure enough, I got these old beat up clubs at this like Max Fly driver and had like a baby shaft on it, just super wobbly. And I just remember Victor got up to the first tee and he striped one down the middle, and I tried to hit it, and I think I topped it like 4 times in a row. Man, I suck at golf. So yeah, from there I got into it. And played through high school and played on the golf team and whatnot. But I just look back now, it's like I wish I would have taken it more serious. I didn't put in the practice, didn't put in the time. I just kind of played, because you guys all played. You guys were all really good. I was never that great, but I love to play. And now it's like, man, I just wish I would have appreciated it more then and took it more seriously and really put in the time and effort. But you know what? That's life, and here we are. Golf's connected us in a great way.
For sure. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, man. And I can definitely say it's come full circle because, if anyone saw our Instagram story, kind of give you a little tease and little eye candy of you swinging the 3-wood because you're just an absolute assassin with all things 3-wood and the putter. I don't know if it comes from your 3 bombs or what from the basketball court, but you're lights out and with the putter and with the 3-wood. So we'll get more of that for sure to come. But yeah, like I said, you're definitely a big influence for me, and Victor as well. We'll have him on too. But that was you kept me out of trouble, I think, during the summers, at least during the day, because we were at the golf course all day. But anyway, it did definitely connect us, and I think golf is a big an important element of our friendship, and it has kept us close because we like a lot of the same things, right? Like we love basketball, we love all these different sports, but I think golf has kind of kept us connected. And I know we shared that's how Sean and I became friends outside of just two dumb missionaries. It was golf. So, and that again is really the basis to a lot of this stuff. So I'm super thankful for that and glad for the game because it has definitely kept us tight. So
It was.
Go on.
I'd say it's way cool that before Devin, you and I even played our first round of golf, and we talked about all this golf, and we finally got to play. But I actually played golf with Austin before we ever played because we ended up playing in the state high school championship together. Come to find out, so
that's so great.
Crazy small world how we're all
you
connected.
Guys do you remember that at all? Like Pierce, do you remember playing with Sean at all? Or
oh man, yeah. I just remember the first day, like day one before I played with Sean. I was like all nervous and got to the tee and I was just shanking everything. And I shot a bad score. I think it was like a 90 or something like that. Just crap. And then the next day came around and I was like, you know what? I'm going to relax and I'm going to swing with no fear. And I actually did really well for the first about 14 holes. I think I had like an eagle and like 4 birdies and whatnot. I was like, man, I'm going to do really great today. And then this bad windstorm came and I think I finished like 2 triples, double and a bogey to finish. I think I shot like a 79 or something, under par to 7 over in 4 holes. It was not good, but I just remember Sean playing with him. He's just this quiet, this nice kid, and he hit the ball straight every time. I'm like, man, this guy is accurate.
Dialed.
Down the middle every time.
Ain't nothing changed.
Just a good guy.
The only thing that's changed is I actually don't play golf anymore. So I guess that's something that's changed. But,
oh man, that's so funny.
Yeah, just crazy how small world and how this comes back to golf, bringing people together.
Yeah, and then Devin, as everybody knows, a great golfer he is. John, great golfer as well. You guys, when I play with you, I just feel like I have to be at my absolute best, and I can't make any mistakes if I want to try and keep up. So it's like I like playing with guys like you because you guys take the game really serious, and you're very strategic in how you play, and it's fun to watch. So it's like when you guys are hitting bombs out there, I'm just hitting cute little cuts 40 yards back. Yay. And
dude,
you're just hitting absolute roasters.
I'd give it up for that reliable Pierce cut every day of the week, not my snappy hooks. And eventually I might catch one. All right. But dude, I'd give it up in a second for your reliable fade. So, but no, I think that's also like the fun part is that I think sometimes it's rare to find dudes, like I said, that we enjoy being around outside of the golf course, but also like those that are decent at it and kind of elevate our game. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty unique and pretty rare. And when you find that, you don't, at least for me, I think that that's not something I want to take lightly or give away. Want to continue to foster that relationship because, just even moving away from you guys, moving down here, it definitely is like, man, I lost like my golf buddies. And so I'm like scrambling, trying to like do things I never would normally do, like text dudes that, my wife may know, like their wife, and I text them, hey, do you golf? Like, cause I'm just so desperate for golf friends. So anyway, it just kind of gave some greater perspective, like, man, like we had it good and we still do. And we're that's also just a big motivator selfishly for this I've mentioned is to just document this stuff. Cause I just know we're going to look back and appreciate it and find it hilarious and find it probably cringy, but anyway, so that and getting this stuff documented on more videos, that's something that we're planning to do, just more video content as well, just for that reason. So, and it does seem like, man, it doesn't matter how we slice up teams when we're always doing our famous 2-man stuff. It tends to always go to the last hole. Rarely is it, an absolute blitz, and I've been blitzed before and it's not very fun. So anyway, it's we'll continue that, but yeah, just thankful for that. I think it's something good and just a good reminder for us, right? Is to get a little bit better perspective, and it makes the golf more enjoyable, regardless if we're playing well or not. So I think that kind of leads into, one of the things we want to talk about is vacation golf. And, you and I, Pierce, just had the opportunity to kind of experience that and all of its glory on the North Shore of Oahu at Turtle Bay. And that was, it's amazing, but it's sometimes like hard to keep in perspective, like, especially when, we went all the way out to Hawaii. We spent, it was pretty expensive around.
Yeah, dude, it was.
Rent rental clubs. You unfortunately had to buy an expensive golf shirt. So
I
like
didn't
it makes the
bring one.
round pretty expensive. I don't know, that was hilarious, your face, man. But anyway, like, so it's hard to kind of not put pressure on yourself to play well. It's like, man, I came all the way out here, spent all this money. Like, I want my score to reflect that, but it's not always the case. And we kind of found that out pretty early. Like, we both overall, like, we can get into some of the stuff, but we all, like, I feel like we both hit the ball really well. We both didn't score the way that we wanted to or that we hoped to, but I feel like overall, like, we kept a good perspective of like, hey man, like, we just both bogeyed 2 holes in a row, but who cares? Like, look where we're at, look what we're doing. I think that's a pretty important perspective to take, but it's not always, easy, especially, when you're traveling out and playing the vacation golf. So, yeah, let's kind of talk a little bit about that. Is, with vacation golf, is it worth, lugging your clubs and shipping those so that you can play with your own sticks and take out kind of the mystery of what the rental set will be? Things like that are something I think noteworthy. But Sean, what are your thoughts, man, on the whole, on the vacation golf, and is that worth it to you? Like, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. I go back and forth on that because I hate playing with rental clubs. I was trying to find like the best comparison to make, like maybe a non-sports analogy. And the only thing I could come up with is if you're like house sitting or driving someone else's car or whatever, like it could still be fun or whatnot, but it just feels
There's just
off,
something
right?
off. Yeah.
Just doesn't feel right in the hands.
Right.
Uh, and then like another part to that too is I don't know. I kind of sort of put my traveling into a couple different buckets because there's like strictly vacation, which I've done, and I've also done like strictly golf trips a couple times.
Yeah.
And then there's been just a couple times where I've been able to actually like play golf on vacation. So one time, like I played in Hawaii once, and then another time we went to Disneyland with some friends, and then as part of that, we spent a couple days in Palm Springs, and so my buddy and I went and played around there. And it's tough because like I love golf trips because you just going in everything's going to be about golf, so
Yeah.
like it makes it worth lugging the clubs, going through all the extra logistical challenges of that, and then like on top of that, like on the golf trips, I haven't been with like family or whatever, people that want to do things other than golf. Whereas when I'm on vacation or we're going on vacation, usually golf is not the central focus. And so then if golf's not the central focus, then it gets really hard to justify lugging the clubs because I mean everyone knows how big a golf bag is, but the suitcase for the golf bag is even bigger. You have to check that bag. It's usually more expensive to fly them. Then you're running the risk of them potentially getting damaged or not making it through a connection. There's a lot more wild cards that go into it. And it's like, does that start to impact like the rest of the vacation, especially if golf is only going to be a half a day of a 5 or 6 day trip, right?
Right.
And then
Yeah.
like going even further, because a couple times we've been able, like my wife and I have been able to go over to Europe, but that's been like much more of a backpacking excursion pretty much where we're trying to travel super light.
Yeah.
And I would love to have played golf over there because there's a lot of cool golf courses, even like ones you haven't like heard of, but they're like super amazing and everyone seems to have like awesome golf experiences over there. But it's just so hard to justify trying to lug my clubs all the way over there to go play once or twice, and then at the same time, like my wife doesn't want to fly all that way to have me play golf a couple days.
Yeah,
for
sure.
I feel like if I'm traveling to play golf, I think I'd just way rather prefer it to be a strictly golf trip, and I can justify bringing my clubs and going through everything associated with that. But yeah, I would say like if I'm just going on vacation, I would probably just lean just not bothering playing golf. But that's just me.
Yeah. No, those are good points. And I kind of net out similar. Like when we went in September, we had our little girl with us when we traveled to Seattle, and I chose to bring my clubs, which it kind of worked out because the golf bag that I checked we were able to stuff a ton of her crap in there. So I just wrapped all of her stuff around my shafts, took off the head of the driver. And that actually seemed to work out because we knew we were going to have to check bags anyway with her. So, and luckily with what I have with Delta, I don't have to pay for the extra bags when I check them. So that was nice. So for me, it was like, yeah, that's worth it. Like I really want to experience Chambers Bay. Like I really want to do it. So I was just, like, yeah, we'll just make that golf bag more room for the travel bag with all of our extra stuff. So that seemed to be worth it. But like this Hawaii trip, I definitely would not have wanted to bring my clubs. Like, I don't know, Pierce, if you feel any different, though. Their clubs were nicer than the clubs I have. Like they were like brand new Sim 2 P790 irons, all the mill grind 3 wedges, the TaylorMade wedges, and a Spider X tour putter. So all that stuff, like it was nice. So like really couldn't say the clubs had much influence. Like obviously they're a little bit different. And Pierce, we're trying to talk him into buying those, dude. He was roping those irons like 3 clubs further than he hits his blades right now. I'm like, dude, this is a no-brainer. He was striping them. So for me, it was like, yeah, I'm glad. I definitely wouldn't have shipped clubs all the way just for that one round. And those rental clubs were sufficient. But Pierce, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, dude, those clubs were awesome. I didn't know what to expect. We got to the course. First off, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I just remember we went to the driving range and I pulled out the driver and I was slicing it so bad. I'm like, oh no, this is not looking promising. I was all worried. Crap, I better enjoy this. And got out to the first tee and hit a decent little cut and it kind of hit the tree. But other than that, after that moment, I got comfortable with how to swing them, and those irons, man, they were really pure. I didn't expect to hit them like that. I feel like a lot of those par threes, a lot of those shorter par fours, having like 150 to 170, 180 yards in, they can maybe like a 9-8 iron normally, like like a 150, 160 yard shot. That's like you can get a wedge there, and I was hitting like an 8 iron over the green a lot of the time, so wasn't adjusted. But you got to think like we're on vacation. This is golf in Hawaii. I didn't think the ball would go as far, but it was unbelievable to watch that thing fly.
Yeah.
But to ship my clubs, I do it in a heartbeat. My irons are from like 2004. They're a hunk of junk, and everybody always tells me you need new irons, and it's like I know, I just haven't done it. So
that'll break the camel's back, man. Just snap one of those irons and then you have to.
Yeah, it was the icing on the cake, though. I think I was convinced. That was a lot of fun. Seriously, I'll remember that forever.
Yeah, dude, the 3-wood, my word, that's another thing you're gonna have to upgrade the Sim to. Like he was, Sean, I'm not even kidding you. I feel like I was hitting the driver pretty well. It was just a regular stiff. It was just a stiff shaft, not an extra stiff. And I'm kind of getting used to the extra stiff.
You were roping it.
I was hitting it pretty well. Pierce was literally every bit as far, if not further, on some holes with his freaking 3-wood. I'm like, this is a joke. You just need to buy. How much do these people want? I'll buy them for you because I'm dialed with them. But like I don't know, like the golf course itself was really like really good shape. It's unfortunate they actually closed the Fazio course. So I think they closed it pretty much like right after I went there in January of 2020. At least the lady said it's been closed for about 2 years now. So I must have just barely was able to play it. And I really liked it, but they closed it. And she said, yeah, we're just focusing all of our efforts on the Palmer course. It's where the demand is. People want to play it. And I think it also has something to do with maybe some labor shortage too. Like it's just a lot to maintain those two golf courses. So that one's closed, but so the Palmer course really was like, it was in great shape and it was manicured really well. And like, there was a lot of, it varied really, really good, which is something that I really like in a golf course. Like it had some dogleg right, some dogleg left, some pretty long par fives, pretty like medium length par fives, some like number 11. That was one of the hardest golf holes I've ever played. Sean, to give you an idea, like the tee shot was just like number 10 at River Oaks. So just lined with trees, crazy narrow, dog leg to the right. Like I stood no chance, and a pond all on the right side. And then there was workers just grinding away, didn't even care that we were there. I'm like, these dudes they're in range, but whatever, I'll just swing away. So that was like super hard. So it hit a pretty good drive towards the left side, and I still had 235 in for a par 4 for my second shot, and was able to get a hybrid on the green. But that par felt like a birdie. So there was definitely some variables there. Pierce almost drove one of the par 4s with his 3-wood. So that was really nice. The only thing, the par 3s seemed to be pretty similar. Like they were all at about, from the tips, it tipped out about 7,200 yards. So decent length. And most all the par 3s were like 210, 205. I think the shortest one was like 190 or so. So that was kind of like the par 3s were okay. But other than that, like it's good course. It was harder than I expected for kind of like a resort type course.
It's tough.
But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts. Pierce, what do you think? What did you think of like the course itself?
Yeah, I thought the layout was really nice. The greens were really fast. I couldn't get the speed figured out. I was racing everything by like 10 feet every time, but it's all good. But overall, the course, the views were amazing. The trees, the smells. I mean, overall, that experience was worth every minute. I would like to play it again. Now we know like where to hit the ball and what the distances look like. But yeah, you had some unbelievable shots there, like you always do. And the hole number 11, your shot in there was unreal, man. You stuck that tight. That was a hell of a shot.
Yeah, that seemed pretty. That was like, we were finally able to get a birdie on 18. That was like all I was hoping for. And it was this par 5. And like I had like a 20-footer, and I laid up, and because there's water on the right, and laid up, hit a wedge to like, it was maybe like 15, 20 feet. And I made the putt. I felt like such an idiot because I was like pumped. I like raised my arm. I was like, yeah, birdie. And the lady, the couple in the fairway was like, nice eagle. Like they thought I was so excited because it was an eagle. I'm like, oh, that was actually just a birdie. I just played like trash today. But anyway, that was fun. And I didn't even know, this is another like total, I feel like a complete idiot admitting this, but I can't lie. I did not know that an albatross was an actual bird. Like, did you know that, Sean? You probably did. You freaking know.
I did, but
I did not know. Like, and dude, those things are freaking massive. Like, so there was an albatross nesting area on the golf course. There was like signs like warning albatross nesting, like, and there was just this big sign. We just had driven past it, so I didn't catch it all. And I was like, oh, is there like a short par 5 coming up, like warning us that an albatross is in play? And sure enough, it's just an actual albatross like nesting area. So I feel like a total idiot, but my mind was blown with how big those things were. Like now I get why, we call it a big bird,
It's the biggest of all birds on the course and off the course.
Yeah, I'm a total idiot, but so I've learned something new. But anyway, that was kind of, so it was a fun experience. Definitely something we'll remember and cherish for forever. So that was awesome. Anything else on that, or anything else we want to talk about as far as like vacation golf goes? Any other takes there?
I want to know how you're like, I guess you guys are a little different because you're going into it, you're planning on playing golf in Hawaii, so you had like a little prep. Like my experience was kind of different. So because I went to Hawaii with my wife and then all of my wife's family, so we're all staying in a house together, and we booked the trip like way far in advance. And when we booked it, I was like, okay, I'm going to try to play golf once we're out there. So I kind of was planning on it. And then as it got closer, talking through a lot of the logistics, I'm like, I don't know if it's going to be worth lugging the clubs out there. And then I looked at the price of what it would cost to play. So basically ended up talking myself out of it. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to bring the clubs, probably not going to play. We ended up staying at a house that ends up being on the course pretty much. And it was super nice course. And started looking in the courses we got there, rated out super high. So I'm like, oh, whatever. Of course, I get there. I'm like, oh, I want to play. Wish I had my clubs.
Yeah, no chance.
So ends up working out. Like there's a little lull in the schedule or something. So like, oh, I got a free morning. I'm gonna look it up, see if I can go play. Got online, got myself a tee time. Like, okay, I'll head over there, and I'll never forget. It was the most bizarre commute to a course ever. I only had my tennis shoes. Luckily, I had like a polo shirt for a luau that we were going to later in the week. So tennis shoes and my polo, and basically my phone and my wallet, and I walked to the course from the house.
Incredible.
And got to the course and like, well, I got a tee time. I've got nothing though. And so I had to pay the green fees, the rental clubs, had to buy golf balls. I bought a glove. I bought tees. So all into it, I was probably out like $400 at least.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was just so weird because most of the time when I'm going golfing, it's like it sounds silly, but it's like a mental thing, right? Like I load up my clubs into the car, I'm driving to the course, I'm like mentally like, oh, I'm gonna go play golf. This one was so weird because I literally just walked to a course with nothing, and then all of a sudden I'm playing, and then it ends up being completely like I've never played golf like that. Like I'm just looking through some of the pictures right now, and it was just so different from any course I've ever played because that's just how island golf is.
Yeah.
I mean, the grass was different, the air is different.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about it was just so different, and then it was almost hard to focus on the golf sometimes. Like you look up at the most incredible views. Like I can't even believe places like this exist in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was probably one of my most unique golf experiences ever, and it wasn't even so much because of the golf. It was just like everything about it was just so different from normal golf for me.
Yeah, I kind of felt that similar. And Pierce, you even mentioned that like exact thing. Like there was just it just felt a tiny bit foreign, but at least for me, like after like 2 holes in, actually even just after the first hole, it was kind of like, all right, like maybe that was just because I was with you. And it kind of calmed me down, but yeah, that was weird to just pull up, get out, go in there. Same thing. Luckily our rental set came with balls. But we did buy a glove. But then after that was weird, was just like we just parked the cart and left. Like we just
So yeah.
Yeah.
I was
that was bizarre.
I almost grabbed the bag and like we normally do and put it in the car. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, I'm leaving here with no bag, and I had my regular shoes on. Like had my Adidas shoes on. It just like felt strange golfing in those the whole time. I don't know. It was awesome. Mm-hmm.
What were you gonna say, Pierce, before that about like vacation golf or anything?
Oh yeah, I just was gonna say it's something like you don't really know what to expect, and I got excited about it because you can play golf anywhere and whatnot, but playing in like the place you're in for vacation, it's like the heat of the moment type thing. I don't know, that it led up to that, and I was really stoked about it. Just the excitement, and it was totally worth all of it. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And at least for me personally, like I don't know how you felt, but like the first time I went to the North Shore, I don't know what it is about that. Like there's just something about it that I love. Like I cannot get enough of it. Like down where we stayed in Waikiki, it's obviously, it's touristy. It's a pretty relatively like big, busy city, which has its benefits, I guess. But for me, like true Hawaii is kind of like the North Shore. Like I can't get enough of it. So honestly, just having an excuse to go up there. And then obviously, they're having the Pipe Masters up there too, which adds to like the whole, surfer bum vibe. Like seeing our boy Landon out
Landon,
there.
dude. Landon was a homie.
So anyway, I loved it. And it was definitely worth the money we spent, even though, didn't score how we necessarily wanted to, but I feel like it was important just with the company, excuse me, and the perspective. So I think that's just like something that's not super easy. Just knowing like going all this way, spending all this money, but still having a good time regardless of the quality of the golf shots. But
yeah.
Anyway.
My dad used to go to my mom and dad used to go to Hawaii all the time when I was younger, and they'd leave me and my brothers at home and whatnot. My dad was like, yeah, I played Turtle Bay. He's played it 4 times, played the Fazio course, and whenever I thought of Hawaii, I thought of Turtle Bay. And you mentioned you had played there a few years ago. It's like, oh, my dad played there too. That's awesome. And so like whenever I talk to people about like Hawaii golf, I'd bring up, have you heard of Turtle Bay? Like, oh, that course is amazing. And so I always had that in my mind that I need to play there one day. It was like a bucket list. So when you mentioned that we
Yeah.
were going to play there, I was like super stoked. So it was a bucket list thing. So
Yeah.
let's
And
go.
I remember the golf towel you used to have on your bag from your dad, like
Yeah.
little Turtle Bay golf. I'm like, Turtle Bay in Hawaii. What a dream. That
I
when we
know,
play
right?
there, we'll have made it. But anyway, that's funny. But
Incredible.
yeah, so that was a good time.
Hmm.
Anything else? Or Sean, any other thoughts there? Phil?
Yeah, what like at what point do you think you'd consider bringing your clubs to Hawaii?
I I don't know. It's me personally, it's just hard because I guess it would have to depend. The biggest thing is if we have the little one. Like if little Sloan is staying home, then I'm putting more to it, because then that means more flexibility. We can probably play more than once. Then that to me would probably be worth it, honestly.
Hmm.
But it would it would have to be more than just one single round for me at least, and then not, because traveling with a little one, you just have so much extra crap, it's unreal. So that makes it hard. But if it was just me and my wife and I, then yeah, for sure I would bring him, and then like to play more than once. What
Yeah,
about you, Pierce?
I would say in the same boat. If I know I'm going to play like 2 or 3 courses, 2 or 3 4 day span, whatever it might be, I would definitely bring my clubs. I think that'd be totally worth it. But if I'm just playing like one course, then I think it's totally worth it just to rent clubs. That's just my opinion.
Especially for you, if they got the P790s and the Sim 2 wood, that's all you need, dude. It doesn't
Gosh,
matter.
dude,
You'd never bring your own clubs again.
I just still can't believe that. I don't know,
So
man. It was
dialed.
like the feel, like it's just kind of crazy, like when you walk into a shot and you can just picture what it's going to do. I don't know. I kept having that like envision with that, and the confidence level was there. But that worked out great. But everything else, like putting and chipping and whatnot, I struggled hard in that regard. But it was fun to hit the ball decent.
Yeah. It's like, now you know what, 15 to 18 years of new technology will do in your clubs.
Okay.
So now hopefully you're convinced and you'll buy clubs. But anyway, we're beating a dead horse there. I've tried to convince you for a while, but
I'm stuck in 2005 apparently.
at least you can hit those. I couldn't even scare those, so couldn't scare the face. But
Whatever, you did them perfect.
anyway, so yeah, let's I do I think at some point, Austin, like, it's really important to get to know like each other, right? And we've kind of talked about that a lot. And something that we feel like is a really good insight to how you view golf is something that we did in our very first episode of Dear Golf.
Mhm.
And again, it's just kind of a spur of the moment, just a verbal letter, what you would write to the game. And there's really like, the nice thing is there's really no wrong way to do it or wrong answer or whatever. Sean and I both did it. And like, I listened back to it. I was like, what the heck was I saying? Like I would change so many different things, but I think that's the key, is like our relationship with the game of golf changes. I know for me and you both, like it's changed from 2011 to 2015 to 2018 to now. Like golf has definitely like evolved in our life, and I feel like now it plays probably, at least for me personally, a little bit stronger of a role. But we would just like to hear yours, if you'd be willing to just share just a brief and just kind of write your letter to the game. I feel like, again, it's just really cool insight. So if you wouldn't mind just kind of rattling that off and taking a swing at that, we'd love to have that.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh man, where do I start? Dear golf, thank you for giving me all this experience in life. I've had many great rounds, had many bad rounds. I just wanted to touch on of what golf has provided for me in my life. I mean, mentally, it's made me a mentally stronger person. I just, like I mentioned before, I wish I would have taken this more serious back in the day, like through high school and whatnot, because I kind of stopped playing after that for 4, 5, 6 years roughly. And I got back into it in 2016. I was playing golf with Garrison, and we played Riverbend, and I think I shot like 1 or 2 over, and from then and there I was hooked. So it's just crazy what it did for me. I'm super grateful for that time. I would consider myself a pretty risky person. Whenever I see an opportunity to take a dive at something like a short par four, I always think in my head, oh, pull out your driver, you got to go for this. And I always have that mentality. And sometimes it does not work out. And then I kick myself. I'm like, well, if I would have just hit an iron or like a 3-wood, I'd have been fine. But I can't think like that. So I just like the aggressive mindset it's given me in life. With it being work wise, with it being investing, with it being, every other thing. Sometimes you get burned, but sometimes it's all worth it. So I think that's the biggest thing golf has taught me, is just to be positive first and foremost, and take risks, be risky and go for it. Thank you, golf.
Love it, man. Appreciate that. I love that perspective, and can definitely attest to, something I'm very envious of you, man, is your perspective, your endless positivity with things, and how you just roll with punches. You're definitely one of the strongest people that I know mentally. You're able to just let things you just accept them for what they are. You can control what you can control, and I feel like you're really good at that. And yeah, that's interesting to know that, golf has probably been a part of that, of kind of shaped you from your personality, even off the golf course. So I think that's interesting perspective, and can definitely attest to that. So thanks, man. I appreciate that. Again, I just feel like it's such a personalized learning experience, and it's just so different for all of us. So I appreciate that perspective. So
yeah, I did want to add one more thing. Like when I got back into it, like 2016, started working at South Mountain, started playing up there a lot. And then when you started working there, it was like heaven on earth, man.
Yeah.
We
Some
played
good times,
so much,
man.
2017 and 2016, man. It was the absolute best. And I feel like playing with you really helped me become a lot better because of how great of a player you are. I don't know, man. You just have a good perspective of the game, and you are very consistent on what you do. And so I've taken that into account many times of watching you, hit the ball, how you do things. And without playing golf with you, I would not be the player I am today. So I'm just gonna say that. So it just goes back to all those rounds we've had, all the fun we've had. It's just keep it going.
What a blessing, for sure. Thanks, man. I'm right back at you. So it's super thankful for that. And yeah, like you said, just more and more to come. And hopefully this, just being part of Strive Golf and what it is going to just make for more of those. And now we're going to have it documented, which is exciting. So
I love it, man. It's awesome.
Thanks, man. Well, let's kind of move on, Sean. We want to kind of touch on the recap for today, the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-AM. What a dumb finish. I'm just so upset, man, for my boy Speed. I was licking my chops. I'm like, man, I picked him. I'm jazzed about this. Like it was awesome golf, just not the finish I was hoping for. Nothing against, T Hoagie, but that was not what I was hoping for. But anyway, take us there, Sean.
Yeah, well, I think hit on our picks from last week. Got to acknowledge that you did win, Devin. You picked Spieth as one of your picks, and he was the low one of the picks. It was awesome on Saturday. It was looking at it was going to be a pretty good battle because I had Seamus Power and Jason Day.
He dominated.
Spieth and Cantley.
Yeah,
and it was like 1 through 4 on the leaderboard. It's like, oh man, for our first week of picks, we nailed it. But a little bit of fading from my picks on Sunday. So you win that week.
After that, I mean, Seamus just was dialed after Friday. I'm like, man, this dude might run away with it, especially playing the easier course Monterey after on Saturday. But anyway, yeah.
Then you got to feel like, oh, it's actually hard to win on the PGA Tour once you start sleeping on leads.
No kidding.
It was a fascinating week. I don't know if the PGA Tour itself could have had a worse week because, for one, they probably had the weakest field they've ever had at their Pebble Beach tournament.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, on the Saudi tournament, it ended up being about as incredible of a finish as you can have. Yeah. Because just to highlight or summarize, so Harold Varner, he was down by 2, playing 17. He birdied 17, gets to 18. It's a par 5, gets to just short of the green in the second shot. So he's got literally like an 80-foot eagle putt from off the green, probably 10 feet of break, and hits it, and it just tumbles in for the walk-off eagle. And just the way he celebrated was so awesome, because you could just tell it meant meant the world to him.
Yeah.
So the PGA Tour is like, oh crap, they had the exciting finish over in the tournament that they didn't want anyone to play in, and people were getting behind that one. So they flash forward to the final round at Pebble, and at least Spieth was in contention. So the thought was, okay, maybe if Spieth wins at Pebble, we can promote that, have some momentum going into Augusta with Spieth being back in contention. And then, I mean, no disrespect to Hoagie, because he played phenomenally coming in.
Yeah.
The shot he hit on, let's see, was it 16 where he stuck it to 6, where he got it to 6 inches, and then 17 he made the birdie to really take the tournament from Spieth, who played awesome, just kind of ran out of steam.
But how quickly, that was what was crazy, is how quickly it turned.
Jarring.
From Spieth teeing off on 16, hit a decent shot into 16, barely misses the putt. On 17's tee, I'm like, I feel feeling pretty good. And then
I thought it was over.
Yeah, flushes that 8-iron, ends up in the bunker, and then T. Hoagie just sticks it tight on 16. It's like, something just happened here. And it escalated quickly.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was one of those where it's like, it was really setting up to be kind of perfect for the tour, and then of course it just all fell apart. So it was a super interesting week, because I think a week like this highlights the danger. Well, maybe danger is not the right word, but it highlights sort of the threat to the PGA Tour from some of these breakout leagues, because it takes potentially some big guys away, waters down the PGA Tour tournaments, makes it a weaker field, a little tougher to watch on television wise. It just highlights a lot of the difficulties, which is a real shame, because Pebble is awesome. Like, it's kind of the opposite of what I was talking about Torrey last week. Pebble shows incredible on TV, and the way they have really started utilizing like the drone shots, you just get a feel of like, this course is like literally on the edge of a cliff.
Yeah.
And it's awesome to watch, and the holes are fun, especially the last several holes, because it's a mix of, there's a massive par 5 on 14, then you got a longish 4, a shortish 4, and then 17's an awesome 3, and then culminating with what you have on 18.
Greatest finishing hole ever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was tough, man, because it is unfortunate but you can't, like, it's like, after watching this, can't really blame some of those guys for going over to Saudi to take fat guaranteed money and a big purse to win, rather than playing 6-hour round pro-am, 4 rounds of pro-am golf, which I can't imagine for them is enjoyable. I mean, it's long days, and being paired with 2 amateurs every single round. I don't even care if you're at Pebble Beach. Like, that is watching, Bill Murray dance around and do all those things. That's not as enjoyable. It does just kind of seem like it's going from more of like trying to make it like super funny and like entertaining, if you want to even use the word entertaining. It's, to some people, I think, honestly, like, I think like for like our parents, maybe like that's funny to see, this guy Bill Murray dressed funny and just doing dumb stuff on the course. Like, they might enjoy that, but to us, it's like, this is a tough scene, and let's just get to the golf. But it's kind of turned from that, like, it's like they're erring on the side of like trying to be entertaining rather than like competition, which is unfortunate, because it's such a good golf course. But it's kind of their big sales promotion, man. Like, they're, that's a big deal for them, which I get, and cash is king. But it definitely, that was tough for the tour. But
I wanted to add something. I did want to highlight Jordan Spieth, his game right now. I watched a couple of his holes, and his pre-shot routine. He seems like he's slowing everything down, and man, that guy is back. I think his game is there. He pretty much had it today, but I don't know. It's just kind of cool to see that.
It's very like controlled. I thought the same thing. Like, I feel like a couple of years ago, I was thinking, I'm like, he might be like distance chasing, and he might be trying to swing harder at it and try and keep up with these other guys. which could have been problematic, but it definitely does not seem to be the case now. Like his swing is very, very controlled, and it's paying off. And like his drives weren't like what we've seen. Like sometimes he steps up with the driver and it's just prayers up. This could go any which way. And yeah, no say. But it hasn't really been like that. He had a few, like his swing on 15 today, he blocked it right and he ended up getting away with it, making a good par. But that was really like the only one. And then on Saturday on 14, that par 5, he hooked it pretty hard. It's just a Debbie snap hook straight left, but recovered. And then it was funny because I was like, man, this is why I love this guy. I could so relate to him, because on Saturday, I don't know if you caught that, he was talking to Greller on the 18th tee. Obviously he just sees, water left, and he's like, oh man, I haven't hit driver since 14. And he said that to him, and he remembers his drive on 14 was just dead left. So, but dude, what a stud! Just steps up and stripes it right down the middle. It's like, man, I can definitely relate to that. Remembering some of those hooks, but yeah, I agree, Pierce. I think his it's different, and whatever he's doing is definitely working for him. It does seem like he can still work it both ways. Like if he wants to hit a little peely cut, he can still do it. He was hitting some really nice draws with his irons, even though that pre-shot just seems it's just wild to me, because it seems like such a over the top playing a huge cut is what he's practicing. And then he steps up and hits it both ways. So yeah, I agree, which makes him dangerous, I think, for this next week for Phoenix. He contended last year while spraying the ball everywhere but the fairway, and was able to scare the win. So anyway, any other thoughts there, like on Pebble or?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Spieth always generally plays pretty well at Pebble. I feel like he's kind of reminds me of Tiger at Pebble. He just knows the course really well. I mean, obviously Tiger's course is the Augusta, but I feel like Spieth knows that course really well. Small greens, but man, when that guy gets hot with the putter, it's over. So he's looking good. I just wanted to touch on that again.
Yeah.
I was going to say, just to hit a little bit on coverage of the tournament. Like, I cannot get enough of Spieth and Greller pre-shot. It's good stuff.
Everyone,
and most of it, it's just Spieth talking and Greller's like, yeah,
I agree. Yep.
Yeah, and but it's so awesome to hear Spieth reason through a shot. And I don't know, as kind of the golf sicko that I am, I love hearing someone go through like, hey, I kind of think about a lot of that when I'm playing. But it also makes me wonder if Greller, like when he lies down at night, like if that's all he can hear in his head is just Jordan talking to him. The voices never stop.
No, it's ringing through his mind. Like, especially after he hits a shot that one on 17 where he flushed it, and he just, sit down because he's going to give you an earful. And it's funny because I kind of felt that way when you were caddying for me, whereas like I just sometimes, like, I'm saying stuff, I'm like, this Sean is you were a champ at it, because I'm like, dude, I will say we ultimately got to the same conclusion, just different ways, like, which was nice. But I'm like, man, Sean is going to think I'm a total idiot the way I work, the way I get and work through things. It's quite jarring. You don't want to get a peek up here. It's some scary stuff going on up there. But
you look a little stressed.
Oh, I'm stressed. But I can't agree more. I cannot get enough of those conversations. Like, nothing is worse in coverage when Nick Faldo has given us some thoughts and trying to make some jokes while the caddies and players are talking. It's like, please spare us.
I wonder if the Netflix series, I wonder how much on-course stuff we're going to get, or if it's mostly going to be in between round coverage. Because if they add any on-course stuff like dialogue or just extra footage that you miss in a broadcast, that could be awesome.
Which from what I heard, I'm pretty sure that they are. And I'm pretty sure they're even getting some majors, and particularly even the Masters, which was kind of, and again, I don't know how deep they'll be able to go into all that stuff. But I have heard that it's going to be, they have some majors that they're going to be able to cover. So yeah, I'm psyched about that and what that will what we'll be able to get insight on actual on-course stuff. So I hope so. So
that'll be good.
Which, yeah, I'm really excited about that. I don't know if we've even talked about that yet, but I know obviously it's kind of old news with that announcement, but it's gonna be really cool, and I'm pumped for it. I've actually even just started to watch the Formula One. I know nothing about Formula One.
Nice.
Like, I didn't know what it was, like what kind of cars they drove, how far they, like, zero. And I've just started to watch that just to kind of get a sense for how the PGA Tour one's going to be. So, and if it's similar, like, it's been super engaging. I'm only on the second episode, but it's engaging, and it's about something I don't even know. So I can't even wait for that piece to come out. So
yeah,
anyway.
they did one on, or Netflix did one where they followed an English soccer team, kind of
I'm sure
all
you love
behind
that.
the scenes. Yeah, it was super cool. Just, it sort of peek behind the curtains of stuff you just don't really see, including like some game day stuff. And so
that's cool.
Anything you can do to sort of offer a new perspective, I think, for golf will be welcome.
For sure. Yeah. Well, let's I think it's good to, let's kind of make some quick picks and preview for Phoenix. And so I can go ahead and kind of kick us off. So let's make our picks for the Phoenix Open, man. This is always a fun tournament. It's the People's Open. It's wild. It's crazy, but always fun to watch. So let's go ahead and make our picks. I guess I'll start because I luckily lucked out and won this week. So I'm gonna start pretty easy. John Rahm. He's the first round draft pick and number 1 in the world. So pretty easy. And I know he's, plays a lot in Arizona. And so that's going to be my guy. Pierce.
I'm going to go with Patrick Cantlay. The guy can roll the rock, and he's always in the mix. I could see him pulling it off. That's my pick.
All right. I'm going to start with Justin Thomas. I think he's a super solid player, and hopefully he can get his season up and running.
I like it. Quick story about JT was, so Victor, we were just playing it was the week before last, and he's like, all right, Devin, I got to tell you something. Don't get mad though. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, what? I'm like all nervous. Like, Victor never says anything like that. And he's like, I know how much you like Spieth, but you're not Spieth. I was like, oh, thanks, buddy. He's like, you're more like JT. Like, you're both just these skinny rails that just swing hard at the ball. You're always pissed no matter how good you play. You are JT. I was like, I guess that's a good compliment. He's my wife's favorite player. My wife's obsessed with him. So I'm like, yeah, I guess that's fine. But I just thought that was super, especially if Victor, like that was just like out of left field. We're just playing middle of the round. He's like, Devin, I got to tell you something. He's like dead serious. That is going to hurt my feelings. But I'm like, I guess that's a compliment. But anyway, so my second pick is my guy. I'm going to go with Max Homa.
I'm going to go with Brooks Koepka. I think he is going to, he could possibly pull off a repeat since he got it done last year. That incredible chip-in.
That chip-in was unreal. Yeah.
All right. Second pick for me, I'm going to go Hideki. If he putts even somewhat average, he'll find himself at the top of the leaderboard. So prayers that he brings somewhat of a putter this weekend.
Just uncomfortable over the ball there. Poor guy. And then my third, I'm going to go with a local favorite. I'm going to go with Tony Finau. I know he's almost won it in the past, so it's a sensible pick, I think.
Nice. I'm going to go with a wild card pick. I'm going to go with Phil Mickelson, the lefty, the PGA champ from last year. The guy can shoot 20 under, or he can shoot, an 85. You just never know.
I would really like to just see him win a PGA Tour event after he spent the last month bashing the organization. I think that would make for some good television.
Oh, yeah.
So
that would be awesome.
He might just burn that winner's check when they hand it to him, just out of spite.
Seriously.
Ooh. All right. Third pick for me, go Scotty Scheffler. Pretty underrated, but always seems to find himself up toward the top of the leaderboard. So I'll go with Scotty.
Get it done. That'd be a cool first win. And then I think I'm going to get pretty predictable here with my fourth and final is Spieth. Plays well there. Doesn't need to particularly drive it well. Just again, if he can make some putts and keep the ball striking up, he might be able to do it. So yeah, I think he'll at least contend. So those are my picks.
Nice. I'm gonna go with Jason Day. I think that he is playing some good golf right now, and he seems to have some good momentum going. So I could see it happening.
Coming back.
Nice.
Jai Dai.
All right. Final pick for me, Harry Higgs. Just because I want him to be in contention in an environment like Phoenix, because I think that would be some great fun over the weekend.
The buttons all the way down.
Oh, for sure. Let it all hang out.
Just incredible, big, beautiful.
Amazing.
That's awesome. Those are good picks. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Sean will make note and he'll come back and report.
I'll crunch those numbers.
Well, of course you will. That's my guy. That's my numbers, man. My CFO. That's awesome. But yeah, I think we've been going. So let's wrap it up. But we'll come back, and again, a lot more still to come, as I mentioned, outside of just this things with the podcast. Like definitely going to get more videos and things involved, but also there are some other topics that we definitely want to cover. Particularly, I know Sean's a little fired up with what's going on and with the Saudi league. So interested to hear his take on more of those. So more of that to come. But again, anyone, if you're still listening, if you continue to listen, we appreciate it a ton. It's a lot of fun for us. We find a lot of joy and fulfillment in it, and we hope you all do too. And again, please engage. Social media, reach out, any thoughts or any topics you want us to cover, whatever that is. We love the feedback and love the engagement. So anything else, boys?
Yeah, just quick shout out, playing this week in Phoenix, Preston Summerhays, Utah local connection. He's playing college golf down at Arizona State, and he's got a sponsors exemption in the tournament this week. So
kid is
just excited to see. Hopefully it's the kind of the start of maybe he'll find himself playing more regular tour events, and we'd have another local guy to cheer on. So that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, good for him. It's awesome, and the whole family is just unreal. So
they're amazing.
Yeah. Well, cool. Anything else? Any other shout outs you want to give, Pierce?
I just want to give you guys a shout out for having me on. I think this is really cool. I love the idea behind all this. I think it's super impactful. You know, golf is awesome. I love how it connects us all together. Yeah. We can always look back at that and, you know, look back at all of our great rounds and our friendships, you know, like we touched on. So, you know, again, thanks for having me. This has been great. Of
course. And thank you, man. Appreciate it. All right. That about does it. And we'll do this again soon. Keep striving.
On. Yeah.
Peace, guys.
Yeah. Later. Have a good one.